Hi creative friends, thanks so much for joining me here today. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Ashley, the Thrifty Chica, and I'm also a Cricut product expert. My goal is to give you guys the knowledge and the skills that you need to be successful, to be creative with your Cricut machine, and also on a budget. So make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future content, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. We're going to be talking today about the brand new Cricut Mug Press. You may have seen the announcement on Cricut's official page. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. You will not believe the level of creativity that you can have with this machine. So if you're interested in learning more about this, let's get to it. So now we're at the point, let's go ahead and unbox this awesome Cricut Mug Press. I'm really excited to take a look at it, and this is my first time looking at it with you guys. I've opened up the box, and if you take a look at the box, it'll give you all of the information that you'd want to know about it. Let's go ahead and open the Cricut Mug Press box. So when you open it up, you can immediately see the machine inside of here. You can also see that it comes with a welcome booklet. So let's go through the welcome booklet before we unbox this and take a look. So the first thing you get in the little welcome kit is a booklet that says, let's get started. And you'll want to activate your product going to cricut.com/setup. I'll walk you guys through that process in just a minute. Also, it has information on getting to know your Cricut Mug Press so that you know exactly what area does what on here for the power buttons, the lever, all of the different features on here, as well as information on how to safely handle your product when you're creating. And then it has information as well. You can go to cricut.com/make mugs, but I'm going to walk you guys through making mugs as well, so don't worry about that. It also has warranty information and safety instructions included in here as well. Let's go ahead and take our mug press out of the box. This is pretty light. It's just over 6 pounds. Underneath it is also a little section with the cabling, so you can pull that out and go ahead and get this set up. There's also included in here a little cord as well. Let's go ahead and remove the plastic from our cords. And that way they're ready for setup. Make sure to remove the protective cap from your electrical cable here. Now we have our mug press. It's sealed in plastic, so go ahead and pierce the plastic on this and we'll unwrap it. Let's take a look at the Cricut Mug Press. I wanted to give you a complete overview of how this functions and how it looks. So we're looking at it from the top down here. If you place it where you can see the front, you can see that's a very sleek design, and then there's a lever here on the right side. And if you flip this around, this is where we plug in everything on the back. So just taking a look at that. And I wanted to talk to you guys about what the different lights mean and how this functions. So the elements in here are heating elements. You can see that there's a kind of a mint color, and then there's a little plate to set your mug on. So this is adjustable to work with different sizes of mugs. This works with the Cricut 12-ounce mugs and also the 15-ounce mugs. I will have all the information in the description box listed, so that way you can check out the measurements in case you want to try different sizes of mugs. It has the exact measurements, that way you know you have it right. But if you're placing, say, one of the smaller mugs, this is a 12-ounce mug, and you place it in here, you can see that there's a gap around it. So how do you make sure that you get the nice even heating result around the whole thing? Well, Cricut designed it so that this has this adjustable setup here, so you can place the lever down, and what it does is it squeezes around the mug, so that way you get the perfect result that you need for this, and it gives you contact around all of the areas where the heat plate is. As you notice, there'll be a gap here on the sides, and that's because this section here is not meant to be heated. The design will start towards the outside of that section. So that's just something to keep in mind. So this lever here, when it is not in use, will be up, and then once you place the mug in, you'd press the lever down, and then once the mug is done being heated, you'll lift the lever back up and it'll open up the plate so you can remove it again. There's a power button here, and this power button will flash with an orange light. When it flashes with the orange light, that means that it is in the connecting mode. A solid orange light means that your machine is heating up to hit the correct temperature. Once it turns green, it will beep, and also the green indicates that it's ready to be used. There is also a progress indicator across the top here, so when it starts, it will start from one section and just move all the way up as time progresses for this. The average time that it takes for this is about 6 minutes for each mug. And then on the back, you can see that there are the plug-ins for powering your machine along the bottom here, and then also for your USB cord. Now you're ready to set up your new Cricut Mug Press, and it's so fun. I'm excited to help you guys set up with this. You can go to cricut.com/setup, or if you have a Cricut Design Space account, you can log right into Cricut Design Space, as I'm doing here, and you can go click up on the left corner where your profile is. If you scroll down to where it says New Machine Setup, you'll click that. Now we're going to select a product type to continue. So we're going to be selecting a heat press. The next selection is which heat press do we want to set up. We're going to be setting up the Cricut Mug Press, so we'll select that. It tells us to prepare our workspace, so we're going to place the Cricut Mug Press on a heat-resistant surface in a well-ventilated area. Cricut recommends placing this near a window or someplace where you have adequate ventilation. Our next step is to press the arrow button, and we're going to take our wall outlet plug and power on the Cricut Mug Press. Now we're going to use our USB cord to connect the Cricut Mug Press to our computer. If you're using a Mac computer, you may have to use a dongle for this to work. Once this is connected, it will find your device and it will update the firmware to your device. So let it update the firmware, and then once it's done, it will let you know, and then you're ready to go ahead and use it. You won't have to worry about doing this every single time you're using your mug press. You'll just be able to go ahead and use it straight plugged into the wall instead. So just make sure that you keep it in a well-ventilated space, and we're ready to start creating. Let's take a look at the Cricut mugs, and there are two different types that are compatible with infusible ink currently for Cricut. This is the Mug Blank in the 12-ounce size. This one is in a set of 2. There are different options that are available as far as the quantity, but we're going to start out with the 2 count here. And it gives you all the information about the sizing on them, the proportions, so that way you know what size to work with. And some really great examples on the top of different types of items that you can make with it. Let's open it up and take a look. So inside the box are the 2 mugs, and you can tell that they're wrapped up very securely. So I'm just going to remove them from the package. They're individually wrapped in here with a separator. So there are 2 layers. There is a layer of bubble wrap and then a layer of plastic over the top of them. This is great because it keeps your mugs dust free, and it also keeps them safe while you travel. And as you can tell, it's a straight wall mug, very shiny. It looks like it has a very consistent coating on the outside of it. And if you take a look on the bottom, it says Cricut. And then it's just a standard mug as far as the sizing for it. This is a nice, great sizing. So there's that one, and then there's also the other one that comes in here. And the neat thing about these is these are already compatible to be used with the Cricut Mug Press. Let's take a look at the remaining sizes that we have left. These are the 15-ounce size mugs. The Cricut Mug Press can fit a range of different sizes in there as long as they are straight walled and they fit the diameter for the mug press. So these are the larger ones, the 15-ounce size. I've already used the ones in this box, but when they arrive, they show up in this box here for the 15-ounce ones. It's got some different examples on here. And the neat thing about this is when they do arrive, you get them with these boxes as holders, and these are great because you can use them for gifting. So you could decorate them, and then you have a ready-made gift ready to go. So I'm going to show you what one of the mugs looks like. That's the 15-ounce versus the 12-ounce. So this one is the 12-ounce and this is the 15-ounce. I'll show you guys how to make this one specifically in a later video. But as you can see, there is a significant size difference between the two there. So, but both very glossy and very pretty. Let's also take a look at the 15 ounce in the specialty color. This one is the white and gray version. This is my favorite one. I think these turn out so beautifully. Just the style of them is so pretty. This also comes with a gifting box in here. When you open up your gifting box, you'll notice inside that this one is set up exact same way as the other one. There are 2 different layers of wrapping, so you can save this and you can use that for shipping for later if you're sending it as a gift for someone. And if you take a look at the mug, this one has this really lovely dark gray, and then also on the handles here. And I really think this turns out so well with different designs. So this one's a little bit more expensive than the other ones, particularly because of the coloring on it, but I think it's really beautiful. So, but all of them seem to have a really high consistency for the glossiness and finish of the poly coating on the outside. So let's talk about the quality level for the Cricut mugs. Cricut made their mug press so that you can use it with their specialty design mugs, and you can also use it with other sublimation items as well. You want to make sure that you're using a straight walled mug that fits within the dimensions of the machine, and this is especially created with a high quality poly coating on it that allows the mug to receive the ink on this. So you get a nice glossy finish, and it's an even coating all the way through. There's no uneven surfaces, and it's just nice and smooth. So it gives you just a really beautiful professional result with those, and you can see that you can maintain that consistency across all the different types of mugs. Let's talk about the different materials you can use with your Cricut Mug Press. So the first one are these infusible ink transfer sheets, and the neat thing about these is you can get a big roll and do a ton of different projects if you really love the specific patterns that you want to work with. So this one comes with 4 different sheets, a lot of options and variety. The only problem with this one, if you're working with the mug press, you're going to have to cut everything down to size. So that's why Cricut designed sheets that are pre-made in the size that you'll need for the mug press. So the cool thing about these are they're in a bunch of different colors and options for patterns as well, but you don't have to worry about having too much for what project you need. If you want to play around with colors and patterns, this is a great way to do it, and there are 2 sheets per little box. Let's take a look at what's inside the boxes. Okay. When you open up your box here, you'll see that there's a little cardboard piece, and then there is the roll. The roll comes in the standard black sheeting that all of the infusible ink does, so you want to open this one up. Inside the box, you'll get 2 different sheets, and they will match, so you'll have the same patterns on them. Really beautiful, right? And the neat thing about infusible ink is it's heat activated, so you'll really get to see the vibrancy once this has already been applied. So you get the 2 sheets there. You also get instructions that give you more information about how to use infusible ink. Along with the infusible ink transfer sheets is a huge option for creativity here. This is the laser copy paper, and you can use infusible ink markers and pens with it to create very custom designs. So I love using this to have my machine draw a design for me, such as a mandala, and then you can take the markers, the freehand markers, and color in the designs, or just play around and be creative and draw something that you wanted to draw on your own too. This is such a cool option, especially if you want to do something as kind of a memory or a keepsake. I can totally see little kids having such a fun time coloring and making special designs for people in their lives, and it makes a permanent keepsake. And you can really just have fun and be experimental, and there's no rules. So if you enjoy working with coloring books, or you just enjoy creating memories that last a long time, this is a great way to do it. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the other things that you can create. You might be curious how this is set up inside Design Space, especially since this is a very new process. So I wanted to walk you guys through exactly how the setup works. It's actually very simple, and I really love how it's set up. So if you're inside Cricut Design Space, you'll notice when you first log in that some new things have happened. First, they've added some video playlists, and there's usually projects along here that will be suggested. Along the top section here, you'll see suggested some of the different mug designs and the the wraps that you can use for the mug. So when you log in right away, you'll start seeing those ones pop up. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the different designs are set up for you to customize. So what we're looking at are some of the mug options for blanks. So this is specifically set up for customizable designs here. And you look at the mug design setup and you can see all of these different options. There's wavy borders, zigzags, paint edges here, and straight lines. So we can click on one of these, and what it does is it gives you a drop down menu that you can use to get the correct sizing and also the correct edging that you prefer for it. So they have the 12-ounce mugs and the 15-ounce mugs. They're perfectly sized to the Cricut blanks, so if you're using something that is a different size blank, you can go ahead and select one of these and just resize it to customize it to exactly the size for the mug that you're using. We're going to go ahead and choose the large straight edge, and it gives you information on which materials to use, what they recommend, and the whole process here. So it makes it a lot easier. And there's also information for more help down here in case you need more help. We're going to click on Customize. So let's disassemble this design so that way you can understand how this one functions. So on the top here, you can see there is a red layer, and this is a layer that tells you approximately where this will lie on the mug. So if this is on the right hand side, you can see the little handle here. This is the center section for the right side. This is a center section for the left side, and this is straight directly in the middle. So this is just a nice visual guide to help you when you're designing. When you're done lining things up, you can use the little eye icon to hide that layer before you do any cutting. The large mug wrap, this is the section that you're using with infusible ink. It will show up as the outline that you're using. And then you have the mug wrap, and this is the part that you're going to be using to help attach your adhesive to the actual cup itself. So let's go ahead and I'll walk you through the process of designing something. So we're going to go into Images. I'm going to select the word Make. And I'm going to choose this one, which is Maker's Gonna Make. Once we've selected the design we like, we can go ahead and click Insert Images. And once we have the design that we prefer, we can resize this to the size that we like for our project. So I'm just going to go ahead and resize this and just kind of keep an eye on exactly where this is going to fall. So I want this a little bit smaller, so that way that this has kind of an even distribution point along here. So once you've decided what size you want to make it, you can make it in the middle if you prefer, or on the sides. I'm using a watercolor piece here, so I really want the watercolor to be the focus of this. So I'm just going to duplicate this. So I'm just right clicking and clicking on duplicate. Or you can also hit duplicate up on the top right here. So we're duplicating that, and then you can center it exactly how you'd like. And then once you've decided where you're going to place that, when you're done using these icons here as you're centering, you'll go over to the right side and we're going to hide that layer. We hide that layer because it will get in the way when we're working on something. So what I'm going to do is draw a box around it, and then we're going to click on the bottom here where it says Attach. And what this does is this will make this part of this design, and it'll also cut it out for us. So we're ready to go here. Because this is pre-sized to the mug size that we're working with, we'll go ahead and click Make It. And then we can click Mirror. Since we're working with infusible ink, whenever you're working with anything that's heat-based, you want to mirror your design, and it cuts it backwards. And the reason for that is you're going to have that side facing in towards the mug. Now you can select which material you're going to use. We're selecting the infusible ink transfer sheet, and you can adjust the pressure as needed. We're going to be using the fine point blade in clamp B, and we're going to load our mat. Remember, whenever you're working with infusible ink, that you load it ink side up facing you. Just for a little bit more information about some other ways to find the different options available to you, click under all images here and select image sets. You can type in the word mug, and it will bring up different mug designs that you can work with. So there are things such as these cute animal ones that you can find. in here, and there's a bunch of different options to play around with. So there are a lot of pre-made ones, or you can go back and select ones that are drawn designs as well, or cut designs. There's also these that are great starters. These are ones that are really fun. You can take some of these shapes here and just add cutouts with names or initials or whatever you'd like. So Cricut kind of played around with a bunch of different options for you to choose from. So you can kind of see just a fraction of what's available. You can also look at these abstract designs. One of my favorites is this kind of drip pattern that you can see along the bottom here. I thought this would look really neat. And they also have a lot of coffee and tea designed ones as well. These are just some of the ones that they have pre-made. You can really go wild with letting your imagination choose through their library or building your own. You can also browse all images, and you can go to material down here and select infusible ink. That's another way to check, and it will give you a bunch of different options to play around with, and you can really see what's available that way. Here's another option under the projects. This is called the Drawn Mug Design Setup, and you can choose which size of mug that you're doing. It will give you a blank to work with, so we're going to go ahead and select the large one. It tells you what you'll need, which are the butcher paper, laser copy paper, infusible ink pens and markers. This one is a blank setup for you, and there are the placement indicators here. So if you want to add some type of drawn design along here, this helps you to center everything. So you can just choose whichever template works the best for whatever you're creating. So if you want to create something that is a custom drawing or custom writing, you can do so and just select which type of pens you're going to use. Or you can also use the infusible ink transfer sheet. So there's so many options to work with. And you can also design custom boxes to go with these mugs as well. There's more information on that. If you guys would like to see a video with me showing you how you can build the custom boxes, leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll make sure to create a video on that. Let's talk about what supplies you'll need. We're going to be using the brand new Cricut Mug Press, a sheet of butcher paper. This is one of the really pretty mugs that they have. I love this kind of gray design. We're also going to be using the easypress mat, Cricut infusible ink. This is in the mug press size, so this is pre-sized for our project. We'll also want a lint roller, heat tape, and also an oven mitt or a pot holder. We'll be placing our green watercolor infusible ink on our mat here. This is the light grip mat that I'm using. So there are 2 sheets that come in each box. I'm going to use one of these for this project. So what I'm going to do is just roll this one out, and I'm going to place this along the top line. Make sure your hands are clean and dry, free of lotion when you're working with infusible ink. I'm just going to press this down onto the mat, and now we can cut it. Now that we've loaded our mat into the machine, always double check before you start cutting that you've selected the mirror option, and that way it reverses the design. You want to work with that whenever you're using something that requires heat, such as iron-on or infusible ink. Okay, so our project is complete. We're going to go ahead and remove this from the machine. We'll remove our project from the mat by flipping it over, and we'll just roll this away. So as you can see, it's cut through multiple times, so we're just going to remove this by cracking it. So we're just going to kind of roll this and it should crack away from the other section. So now we're going to work on weeding our design here. As you can tell, this is backwards, so this is the side that would face out, and this is the side that's going to face in towards the mug. So to make this kind of peel back the sections that we don't want, we're going to have to kind of roll this, and you should hear cracking noises as you're rolling it, and that'll let you know when the design's released. So we're just going to go ahead and do that on all these little sections here. The way that I want this design to work, because this is such a pretty background for this, I wanted the words to be the part that is white from the background of the mug here. And that way we get all of this really pretty color on the background. So we're just going to be removing the sections with the words on there. There are some smaller pieces, so just be careful when you're working with it that you're not pulling up the pieces that are meant to be the inside of the words. As you can tell, there are these tabs here. This is what we're going to use to attach the mug when we're ready. If you have a little piece come up where the center is there, you can always place this right back down and just hold on to that center section and then remove around that, and it should be able to stay in place. Because this is a sticky backing on here, you can go back in and re-hold that in, and that should hold in place now. Okay, so we have that section, and if you turn this around, now you can see what it's going to look like when we adhere it here. So here is our completed design. We're going to place this so it's ink side up and just move this out of the way. Next, we're going to prepare our mug. So you want to make sure that you remove any lint and have this as clean as possible. The only thing that will really mess up the design of the mug is if you have something like lint or any fuzzies, something like that along here. So it's always good to take a lint roller and just roll over it. So to wrap this around, we're going to place this flat on the surface, and with the mug handle facing you is the easiest, at least that I've tested so far. And I'm just going to kind of hold these and make sure that I'm following along with how much space is allowed here, remembering that we have about ½ an inch towards the handle where we can't place the design. So just make sure you have it wrapped as evenly distributed as possible. And then once you figured out exactly where it's going to go, you can start on one side here. So I'm going to place this one side down. So I've placed this so it's just along this section here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this around. So I'm going to place this back down now and just wrap it as tightly as possible around the mug. And roll it and wrap it tightly. And I'm just rolling my hand over, right on over. So that's the easiest way that I found to do it, is just to follow the design of the mug with your hand and roll over until you hit the point where the tape is, and then just press that section down. Then you can go back in and press the rest of the tape down. If you find that there's some areas where it's bubbling, you can always remove the tape again and recenter it again. So let's just say this is not exactly where we want it. We'll go back and just release the tape from here, and you can redo it again. So same process as before. We're just going to wrap it tightly. If you just want to make sure that this is extra sealed, this is where you can break out your heat resistant tape and just add a few pieces of tape to help keep it in place as well. This is totally optional since there is already tape along the sides of this that hold it on pretty well. But I like to do this just in case, just to add a little extra layer of security so that way it just really stays in place there. When this is on there really well, just double check and make sure that you have it wrapped so it's not overhanging on the bottom and it's not overhanging on the top, and that it's on there pretty tightly. So now let's work on making sure that we have our surface protected. We're going to be using an easypress mat. If you want to add an extra layer of protection to make sure that no ink transfers to your surface, this is just an extra thing that I like to do. And let's just add a little layer of butcher paper on top here. And that way there's no potential for any ink transfer from the bottom of the sheet when it sets on here. Also, this is when you want to break out your oven mitt or your pot holder so that you're ready to go. And this just helps when you're moving it from one direction to the other, because these heat plates where you can see the kind of teal color in there, that's all going to be hot. So we want to make sure that we're extra careful and we don't burn ourselves when we're working with it. Once the mug press is heated up, it will turn green and it'll also make a beeping noise that lets us know it's ready to go. Our Cricut mug press is heated up and ready to go. It has the green light and it also made a beeping noise to let us know that it's ready. Now we're ready to move our mug into here. Remember that it's extra hot. This, if you can't see it, it is a lever that's up at an angle. So we're going to be pressing this down once we have the mug inside of here. So as always, exercise caution. We're going to place the mug into here. Just slowly set this down. We can move the handle just a little bit in here. The key is we want to make sure that the mug is kind of centered in here and that the plates are touching everywhere that there's ink. And we're going to place this pressed down. And now what it's going to do is have this timing indicator that lets us know approximately how long this is going to take. This is about 6 minutes generally. What it does is it measures the ambient temperature of the mug that we're working with, so that way it gets the exact temperature that it needs for this one to heat up. And we're just going to hang out and let it do its thing. When you're working with a brand new Cricut Mug Press, you may notice that there is a scent or something when you're first using it, and it does dissipate over time, but for the first few times that you're using it, you'll definitely notice a lot more. And you should always use this in a well-ventilated space. It's letting us know it's ready, so we're going to lift up on the handle here. That releases the mug, and now we can pull this from here. We're going to place this directly on the little mat, and we're going to let that cool down. It's going to take approximately 15 to 30 minutes, so give it until it's completely cooled down before we touch it again. Okay, so now we're ready. This is cooled down completely, so we can go ahead and remove the paper from it. So what we'll do is make sure that anywhere that we've placed tape, we're going to remove that one first. So I'm just going to go in here and remove the tape from the cup. Okay, now we're ready to reveal the design. I'm excited to see how this looks. Because the tape overlaps here, we'll start with which one is on the top. So I'm just going to peel this one back. Oh, and you can see it already. Look how cool that is. And the neat thing about this is you can see all the variations in the colors and the patterns. Really pretty. And I love how the edging on that one looks. These mugs are highly glossy, so that's kind of makes it a little bit difficult sometimes to see because of the lighting, but in person they're super glossy and very colorful. And it's a great way to kind of play around with all of the different styles of infusible ink that there are, because you can get really beautiful effects. Like this one is a watercolor pattern, so I'm thrilled with how this one turned out. Look at how pretty. So I showed you guys one technique of so many that you can try with the Cricut Mug Press. I'm showing you this one today, but I have a bunch more videos coming out with different techniques that you can try, including using kind of a slice and set method for multiple colors of infusible ink, working with infusible ink, pens and markers, and so many more to come. If you'd like further in-depth information about the Cricut Mug Press, about the pricing, about some of the different bundles that are coming out for it, check out the link below in the description box. It'll take you to my blog post that has way further in-depth information than is even in this video. Everything I know, tips and tricks, will be there to help you guys out. And if you guys are interested in more information, you want to see something specifically made, leave a comment below and let me know. Thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future content. I'm going to be having a ton of videos all about using your brand new Cricut Mug Press. And make sure you download my free guide that will give you all the information that you need to know so that you have everything covered whenever you're creating. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.